What's up, everybody? Rockin' Jouv here.
How's it going? How's everyone's evening or whenever you listen to this
So
going?
this is the first time we are doing twice in a week. We finally got into the studio at the right time. So we got the first one up on YouTube. We pulled it off here. So it only took us to just about December, but yeah, I think it's pretty good. So in the last episode, we went over the top free agents coming into this summer of the summer of spring 2019. Not this summer 2019, and I'd like to pick back up with that. Actually, we got more topics coming today. It's more NBA basketball tonight as well as last night went down. So yeah, let's just jump right back into it though. Okay, so where we left off, if I'm not mistaken, was Jimmy Butler, right?
Yes.
And we
Jimmy
said
Butler's
Jimmy
the last one we talked
Butler
about.
was going.
You're
Right. Okay. Okay. Did you see this video?
I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing.
You'll like it. Just
Yeah.
watch it.
Should we broadcast it right
no.
now?
No, I don't think that's
All right,
necessary.
Maybe
Okay.
for Monday's topics we could talk about it.
So we left off with Jimmy Butler. We said Jimmy Butler was probably what?
What?
What'd you say?
No, we said Jimmy Butler was going.
Yeah. All right. I'll listen to the episode later see what you said. If you don't want to tell me.
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
We'll hear it. We'll hear it on YouTube.
Okay, so let's start off the day with somebody near and dear to my heart, Kyrie Irving. Stay or go?
I think ultimately at this point he's probably staying. I mean, obviously nothing's official, but I mean, he said in the beginning of the year that he's going to re-up with Boston. I mean, he has that new Nike commercial with him and his dad, and he says that his dad's the reason he wears number 11, and he wants to be the reason no one else will. So I mean, unless he's wearing number 11 somewhere else, and like they did the video in the TD Garden, like I feel like he's probably staying.
Yeah, I absolutely think he's staying too, and part of that is just obviously very wishful thinking, but I do think he's going to stay. The only thing is, I think he did when he said that. He was very high on the fact that he thought we were going to be fantastic this year, and as of right now, we haven't shown that. That could be the only thing that I would think. Ooh, maybe blah blah. But you don't make a verbal commitment before the season to the entire TD Garden. Without kind of knowing that, it's not going to be easy this year. Nothing's just like a cakewalk. So I think we can absolutely see him in a Celtics uniform next year. That one's easy, I think, because he said something. But all right, next guy we got another Celtic is Al Horford. Stay or go? Just in free agency.
So I'm gonna say go, and that's because I had you guys acquiring DeMarcus Cousins, and there's a lot of money that's going to have to go around in order to facilitate that. And I think Al Horford's not. I mean, Al Horford, like on a good year, could still maybe like slip onto an All-Star team in the East, but he's not quite the same caliber player that he once was. I mean, he's still very good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think the Celtics are going to pay him nearly as much money as they did last time. And I think ultimately because of that, I think that he's going to go elsewhere. But I think that you guys will get a more than competent replacement for him.
Yeah, I'm gonna say stay. I think there's kind of Danny is pretty good. Danny Ainge, GM of the Celtics. Danny's really good with talent and getting rid of things too early as opposed to too late. Or really just at the right time, I would say. He's just great at that. So I think there was a verbal agreement behind the scenes. Danny and Al kind of exchanged some words, and Al said he would be willing to come back
And
for less money, but for more security. Just kind of like maybe like 15 for 4 years or something. And that, like, I listen to a lot of Celtics podcasts, like John Corrales or things like that, and those guys also feel. I mean, they have insider information. I mean, they're at the practices, they're at the training facility. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the idea within the facility is that he'll stay, take like half as much money, stay for some security.
And I think another thing to keep an eye on is that I believe he just has an opt-out clause, so like he could.
That's what it is.
Yeah, like he could just as easily be like, you know what, I'll take the money this year. Like
he could. He's not
easily
like
could.
that,
No,
though.
but exactly. Like I think now that you mentioned, I forgot he had an opt-out clause. I forgot about the whole thing.
Yeah. It says free
yeah,
agent
it would
on here,
make
doesn't say.
it would make more sense if he did opt out just to take a smaller contract, so you guys could have that money to go get another player.
I think he will. He's not one of those. He's not like a D'Angelo Russell where I would be like, oh, he's probably going to opt in, just take the money and blah, blah, blah. I don't get that. I mean, Al Horford's a mature guy. He's a family guy. You know what I mean? So I think that's definitely what he's doing. Moving on here, Chris Middleton. This is an interesting player. What do you think about that?
Chris Middleton is certainly an interesting player for me. I mean, he's actually one of my favorite players in the league, and the way I look at it, I mean, like Chris Middleton isn't a superstar. He could be a guy who does get an All-Star nod this year. I mean, he's like that caliber player where he's like on the fringe of being an All-Star. And if the Milwaukee Bucks see him that he doesn't really have too much more room to grow, and Chris Middleton is going to be asking for close. I don't think he's going to be wanting a max contract, but I mean, he could chase the money somewhere and like become the number one guy in a shitty team.
Chris Middleton, you're saying?
Yeah, and like we already saw Milwaukee let Jabari Parker walk. I mean, he was their number 2 overall pick. Like obviously he had his health issues, but like when he was on the court, he was still a very, very good and talented player, and they'd let him walk in order to save money. And So I think because of that, obviously if the Bucks have Chris Middleton, they're going to be much better off with him than without him. However, I'm not 100% sold that Chris Middleton's definitely coming back to Milwaukee next year.
So
I'm leaning towards stay, but it's like a 51% stay. Just because, I mean, he's their second best player in the team, and like let's not pretend that they have a couple like lottery picks like in the waiting who are going to get much better. They have Giannis, who's one of the best players in the NBA. They have Chris Middleton, who's like a budding star, if you want to give him that. Like he's very good player.
26.
Very like he's a legitimate player.
Yeah. I don't think Chris Middleton can have his own team, but I think he can definitely be close to that. I think he could, not necessarily on a championship team. I think he'd have to be further down the list.
Yeah.
But I think in order for his career to really blossom, he's going to have to take a chance on himself sometime here. I see him staying. I don't see him going anywhere. I think he's going to get a better deal with Milwaukee. Maybe more money, probably, I would say. But I think ultimately he does stay in Milwaukee. He just does not seem like a kind of player to me that's trying to hike out of town as soon as he gets the chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I think like when you look at a player like Otto Porter in restricted free agency, he just took like the first big offer he got with the Nets and was just like whatever. I mean, the thing is, I see Chris Middleton as like not even remotely close to the Otto Porter not even remotely close to the caliber player of Chris Middleton. And I think because of that, Chris Middleton might see that and just be like, yeah, I can go take the money somewhere and become irrelevant. Like I could just as easily sign with the Kings, whatever, and I could probably be the number 1 option there for a year or two, and then my career will fizzle out because we're not really doing much, or maybe the guys around him get better. Or he can look at it and be like, yeah, I can play alongside one of the best players in the NBA. And we just got a new coach. I mean, we're 2nd seed in the East right now. And, I mean, I've been playing in Milwaukee, the last 5-6 years or so. And, yeah. I mean, he's pretty much gotten better every single year for the most part. I mean, like, his career has been, like, a steady uptrend ever since he got in the league. So, logically, it makes sense for him to stay. I'm not completely sold on the fact. I don't think he's 100% coming back just because money is a factor and just because I did watch Milwaukee let Jabari Parker walk. But I'm
Yeah, I
leaning
think
towards
Jabari
that.
Parker
he will
was a little
stay.
different just because
Yeah,
of the injuries.
absolutely.
And, he hadn't really proved himself there. But I think Chris Middleton is he's got to be a fan favorite, certainly. So, yeah, I just checked. Okay, so Chris Middleton, I think we both said stay, but you're leaning towards maybe leaving, and that's fine. I mean, you never really know what's going to happen. He could decide to join a team like I think he would be great on an OKC, something like that. I mean, they could really use a guy like that. But I don't know if they still are, but I know the Bucks were leading NBA like 3-pointers, like made for a long time. Like
were they really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. This is another guy. This next guy is actually one of my favorite players in the league. Has been for a long time. We got Marc Gasol. Does he stay or does he go?
I think he's definitely gone. Maybe not definitely. I mean, because they did fire their coach over.
Yeah. They chose. They were fighting with Fizdale, Marc Gasol and Fizdale, and they chose Mark instead of Fizdale, which is pretty commendable.
Yeah, so I mean, I do look at that. That was that was the beginning of last year. So I mean, that was kind of a little while ago, but it doesn't. I don't know, because the Grizzlies are doing very well this year. I mean, they were the number 1 seed in the East in the West last week.
I mean, he's averaging his second. This is his second highest scoring year.
Like he's still an incredible player.
Like
as long as he stays healthy.
This is his highest rebound of his career, and in his top 3, tied for third in his top assist.
I think if they fall down the standings, he's certainly a. I'm trying to think of the word, and I'm absolutely blanking. He's certainly a candidate to get traded at the trade deadline. And I think if he does get traded, I don't think he's going to be going back to Memphis. I mean, I think it's kind of a similar situation to Kemba Walker. Like, they're not doing terribly right now. And I mean, he hasn't said, yeah, I want to leave Memphis. Like Kemba said, yeah, I want to stay in Charlotte. But I mean, it's a situation where the team probably doesn't have. Like Memphis most likely isn't going to be a title contender, even if they have their 2 stars, Conley and Gasol. And I mean, Charlotte's definitely not a title contender because they really only have 1 player. And Marc Gasol might look at that and say, like, I've given all I can to the city, to this team, this franchise, to the fans and everything. And I mean, it's time to move on because this is probably the last time he'll be able to get a legitimate contract before. I'm not going to use the term, but like before he's washed up, but like basically before his career is going to be on the down end. And I think the 2 sides might see that and part ways.
Yeah, I think he's going to stay with the Grizzlies. I mean, he's been with the Grizzlies his entire career. He came late from Spain. He's been playing. I mean, he's been here since he was 24. I mean, his brother played here for the first 6 years of his career until he went to the Lakers and, Chicago and whatever. I think he's got such a great situation there. He has Mike Conley, another veteran, so he's not doing it all by himself. He's got who's the rookie they just got? Jaren Jackson? Yeah. They just got Jaren Jackson, and he's been phenomenal. I mean, he's been great for them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find his stats, but it's not.
Jaren Jackson or Gasol?
Jaren Jackson.
When I looked the other day, he was averaging like 13 points. I think like 6 rebounds.
It just will not show me his statistics. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty high up in the West right now, and I don't really know what's contributing to that. I can't say I've watched a lot of games, but I've been to a Grizzlies game in Memphis, actually. When I was down, I remember telling you about that. But I went to FedEx Arena the day of. I bought tickets for $6, and, they were nosebleeds, but there were so little people in the arena, I just walked right down. I was probably 8 rows behind there playing the Pelicans. DeMarcus Cousins was hurt. I think I don't know if it was already Achilles.
This is completely random, but it's still so incredible that they had DeMarcus Cousins on their team, a superstar. He got injured, and their team was just like, Word. And they made the second round of the playoffs last year and swept Portland.
Yeah, that's why Anthony Davis was my MVP pick.
All right, continue.
Yeah, I mean, they're only losing it like Toronto by like 7 points. You know, they're really competitive guys. But I don't see anybody on this roster that I would be thrilled about. They have Garrett Temple, Wayne Selden. I know he's great for them, but Marcus Aldridge, Michael Green, Shelvin Mack, Chandler Parsons. It's just bizarre, you know. It's really interesting that the team's doing so well. But I think he stays. I don't think there's obviously always going to be reason for him to leave, but I don't think that it's enough to, I think he's probably going to sign another 3-year deal, maybe +1, and finish out his career there, I'm
going to be honest. One thing I've always kind of wanted to see is Mark and Pau Gasol on the same team.
Yeah, that'd be cool. They do really work. I mean, they're such complementary players. They're both such great players. And
because you've seen them play with Spain before. Like Spain doesn't have nearly the talent that the U.S. team does, but I mean they're still nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And like Mark and Pau Gasol, they used to play so well together. I mean, I'm sure they probably still do whenever they play with each other. It's just not really in the public eye, except for like every 4 years.
I also think it's really impressive that he's averaging like a career high in points. I mean, that's almost 20 points a game for a center. For a 34-year-old center, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love that. I've always liked him just because he's such a defensive big man. I just really impressed with them as it is as a whole. All right, who's next?
Dragic.
Goran Dragic. Yeah. So there you
go. He's out. I think that Heat team has absolutely run its course. They've been talking about trading Hassan Whiteside for the last at least 2 years. I mean, Dragic, remember he was the sympathy all-star pick last year just because they were like, oh, they're the 3 seed right now, and they have no all-stars. How the fuck did that happen? And then they ended up being the 7 seed anyway. Yeah, I think that team has run its course. Dwayne Wade's going to be retiring at the end of the season. Dion Waiters was. He's
Sorry,
still on them, right?
Just
go ahead.
I finally pulled up the stats that I was looking for, as far as the Grizzlies, and we got Mike Conley averaging 20, Gasol averaging 18, Jaren Jackson with 12, Garrett Temple with 11.
What?
Shelvin Mack and JaMychal Green with 9, Marshawn Brooks, who's still in the NBA.
Yeah.
7 points. Dylan Brooks, 7 points. Kyle Anderson, 6. Wayne Selden, 5. I mean, this is a pretty large team effort. Everybody on this team averages at least a point,
I'd hope so.
I mean, you got guys that don't play, you know what I mean? But this is a really deep team. I mean, they're digging all the way down. But I think that's impressive. I think after Dwayne Casey did that last year with the Raptors, more teams are going to try to be digging deeper. Marc Gasol is averaging 18 and 9.5. I mean, that's basically 20 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? With 4 assists a game, that's fantastic. Conley with 20 points, 6.5 assists.
Yeah, that's 20 and 10 with a coupon.
Yeah. It is. It is. Sorry, I mean, I just wanted to. I finally got up the stats that I was looking for.
That's fair. Anyway, I look at this Heat team, and Dwayne Wade's retiring at the end of the year, so whatever.
Wait, I'm not done.
No?
Chandler Parsons has only played 3 games. Now I'm done. You know how much money he's still making? Can I look it up?
$100,000 million.
Can I just take 1 second? I just got to look it up. He's played 3 games, probably in 2 years, and he's making $24 million at age 29. What a heist. What an absolute heist. All right, now I'm done.
Who did we say was the NBA's biggest? I don't know if it was con man.
We just said it.
We just said it on Monday.
John Wall.
Yeah, dude, he went to the John Wall Michael Scott School of Business.
He did. He really did. I'm done.
Yeah. Anyway, so when I look at this Heat team, Dwayne Wade's retiring at the end of the season. It's probably the 10th time I've said it. Deion Waiters, I mean, he was basically a one-year wonder. They've been talking about Hassan Whiteside getting traded for a couple of years now, and then here comes Goran Dragic, who's a free agent. I think this team's going to get absolutely blown up. They just need to start from the bottom. I mean, after LeBron left, they tried so hard to be like, no, but I promise you, we can still be relevant even though LeBron's gone. I mean, and honestly, props to them because they tried. I mean, they brought back Bosch before all of his health scares. They brought back Wade was still there. He left. He came back. Whiteside kind of broke out. They traded for Dragic. Josh Richardson's there. He'll be there for a little while. They drafted Winslow. I mean, they tried so hard to stay relevant, and I think at a certain point you just gotta break it all down because I mean, what's their ceiling? Like the 6 seed, the 5 seed in the East if they keep this team together. Like I don't really see them winning a playoff series. I don't see them accomplishing very much, and I think Dragic probably understands that and goes somewhere else. Also, Dragic is probably, I wouldn't say he's in his prime anymore necessarily. He's probably about to go. He's probably about to take a dip a little bit, at least in terms of his career standing right now. And I think he probably notices that as well, and he's going to have to transition into becoming, into having a lesser role on a team. And yeah, I just think he's out.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. I mean, he's only played 12 games. I don't know if that was because of an injury, but he's only played 12 games. Can you figure that out for me?
Yeah, I can look it up. I mean, I haven't watched too much.
No, I definitely.
I don't think I've watched a single Heat game this year. Yeah, out for 5th consecutive game. He's got a right knee injury.
Okay. I mean, even before that, he's averages 16 points and 3 boards and 5 assists, and that's not bad. But it seems to me, I mean, Josh Richardson has been on fire this year. We've known that. 20 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, steal and a half. It's just time to let this team go. You know what I mean? Like Hassan Whiteside's still, in my mind, still a great player. Whether he is or isn't, it depends on the day, honestly.
No, it really does depend.
But 13 and 13,
it depends on the week.
Yeah. I think if a player averaging 13 and 13 and almost 3 blocks, it's a good player. But I've seen him be inconsistent. I mean, the team is inconsistent. I think he just needs to leave. I'd take him. Yeah, that's a legitimate 7-1 man.
Like a team.
Like we like to throw 7-footer around, but that is a legitimate 7 foot 7-1 man. Like Aaron Baines has got the 7-footer every once in a while, but Hassan Whiteside is a cool 7 foot, 270 pounds. He's a big guy. 13 and 13 is ridiculous.
Like some team that needs a center that's in the playoff hunt or that has playoff aspirations is going to have to take a chance on him eventually.
We do. I do. I would like him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a little bit more intimidating presence down low, and Aaron Baines, gets posterized by Giannis, and there it is. I mean, and again, I love that. I like that he's willing to stand in front of the body, maybe deflect it, maybe block it, maybe draw a foul, whatever it is. I mean, I love that about him. But we need somebody down there that's willing to be just dominant. You know what I mean? But this Heat team has fallen such from grace and never really entered a rebuilding period. 2012, 2013, LeBron was averaging 26, 8 boards, and 7 assists. Just a couple of years ago. He led the team in points, rebound, and assists, even with Chris Bosh on the team. So they never really entered that rebuilding period, like I said. 15-16, it was Chris Bosh averaging 19 points a game, and Hassan Whiteside with he was having his come up 14 and 11. Dwayne Wade still had 19 points. LeBron had left, but that was the end of the big three, and then 16, 17, Bosch was out, and then they brought in Dragic. Like, they never really had that period
No,
to
they
recover
didn't.
after LeBron left. Like, you need to recover. Like, Cleveland lost LeBron, got the number 1 pick. Kyrie Irving,
Yeah,
brought him in.
they got Kyrie, and they would have had Andrew Wiggins too.
Yeah, which would have sucked.
And if they selected somebody competent instead of Anthony Bennett, like they could have had Victor Oladipo.
Yeah. So, you know, and we're going to see them enter their rebuilding period. They're going to regret getting Kevin Love. They signed him really just to have assets.
Yeah.
To just be able to send a big contract, but not too big. Notice they didn't give him the max. They gave him just under, like $9 million under or something. So he's still an affordable contract. But yeah, I think Goran's got to leave, and Miami's kind of going to have to 7-13. It's not doing it for me.
The dream is over. Dream is over.
Yeah, let's just get rid of it. Just whatever. Get rid of Hassan. Get rid of Goran. Keep Wayne Ellington.
Yeah, like
keep Justice Winslow. Keep Josh Richardson. All
didn't
these
they
guys.
just sign Justice Winslow to a fat extension?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
like Winslow and Josh Richardson, those are going to have to be like your two. I don't know if those guys
Justice
are building
Winslow
blocks
isn't very
necessarily. Like maybe even.
Do you know what he's averaging, Al?
Justice Winslow, he sucks. Last time I looked, he was averaging like 6.
Okay, well
9.1 he's up to.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Ridiculous. He's
like
a Duke
literally,
man, right?
I just what?
He's a Duke man.
Yeah. I just want to say this, like after the Knicks drafted Kristaps, there were so many people complaining that said, we should have gotten Justice Winslow. And he sucks, dude. Career average 7 points, 5 rebounds.
Yeah. I don't think he missed out on anything.
I'm all set.
All right, next. Julius Randle.
He's a free agent?
Yeah, he must have some sort of. I'll look up his contract, but yeah, it's Julius Randle. What do you think he's doing?
I think he stays. Now, if they end up,
yeah, he's a UFA this year.
like if they end up bringing back DeMarcus Cousins, like,
no, wait, I'm sorry, wait. He has a player option, so he could opt out.
especially with the season he's having this year, he very well might. I think he stays though. I mean, if the Pelicans have a good thing going here, like he's averaging like 18 points a game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, over a block and almost a steal. Like Julius Randle, I've just said this for a long. Like I've never liked that Lakers team. Like I was never big on their. Oh, we have this young core, but their young core sucked compared to a lot of the other ones in the league.
You really can.
And Julius Randle, I think, was the guy who had panned out the most, and they just let him walk just because they didn't think his ceiling was that high. But I mean, he'd accomplished the most out of all the guys on the young ceiling, and now that he's on another team, and I believe they're still bringing him off the bench, but he's playing like 27, 28 minutes a game or whatever it is. He's just a fantastic player, and I mean he could get more money somewhere else, and definitely be like get a starting job, like be a legitimate piece for a team. Like by legitimate piece, I'm talking maybe like a number 4 option, like number 3, 4 option on like a good playoff team. But I mean, if it's working out there, like you don't want to become a journeyman that early in your career. And I think
he's gonna find a home.
Exactly. Like if he can find a home with the Pelicans, like him and Anthony Davis together,
he's actually starting.
Awesome.
Sorry, Nikola Mirotic comes off the bench.
I just like saw when I searched him up, it says Julius Randle's warm-up routine making him Pelicans stellar 6th man, and I was like,
I don't know. I'm looking at the depth chart here, and he's the starting power forward.
Like that's what I had thought, but then I should have done my research before this and found out what the whole,
yeah, I think he
is. He actually has only started 4 games.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't know why they have him number 1 in the depth chart then.
He's better.
Yeah, you're right. Game started 4. Games 1.
Anyway.
Maybe this is the most recent 4 games then.
It probably is.
Maybe that's why they updated it that way.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he started against us. Anyway, yeah, they still have Jahlil Okafor, and he's not really playing that much. He's only played 9 games, but they've been playing Anthony Davis at the center, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So there's not really a conflict of position there. I'm going to say he stays just because he does have a good thing. Anthony Davis isn't that much older, but Anthony Davis is already so much more accomplished. He really is. And he might not have a title or anything like that, but, I mean, he's a how-many-time All-Star. He's a how-many-time, record breaker. I mean, he's a fantastic player, He really is. So, I think Davis Randall kind of realizes that, and he's like, I'm just going to learn under this guy that averages 27 and 12. Like, I'm just going to hang out here. Anthony Davis has been an all-star every year of his career except his rookie year, and even in that rookie year, he had 13 points and 8 rebounds. Yeah, and I think he was hurt his rookie year, wasn't he?
I don't remember exactly. I just remember his rookie year, he was fine, but he wasn't as advertised right away.
The most he's ever played was 75 games in a season.
I mean, that's nothing to squat. That's nothing to.
No, I mean the least amount he's played was 64, and that was or 61.
All right, that's respectable.
No, yeah, I'm not saying he's broken. I mean, obviously we know he's kind of broken, but
yeah, in the beginning of the year, I was saying Julius Randle. I mean, he really has the tools to be almost like a mini Draymond Green type player who's better offensively. And honestly, I still kind of stand by that dude. He's only 6'9". He could play the 4 or the 5. He's very, very strong defensively. He has a half decent 3-point jump shot. Really, really good rebounder. He's a better rebounder than Draymond is. I mean, he's not quite as good of a passer. I mean, only 3 assists compared to Draymond Green. Usually averages 6 or 7 at least. I mean, Randall's obviously not asked to be the facilitator on this team. I mean, because they already have Drew Holiday, they have Alfred Payton, they have guys like that. So I mean, he's not asked to play that role, but I mean, he's still a good passer, and 18 points a game is if you can score 18 points a game in the NBA, good on you. Yeah, and I think absolutely that him working alongside Anthony Davis has worked out pretty damn well so far, and if you're a player like Julius Randle, you want to find a home, and hopefully for him that is New Orleans.
Next we got Tobias Harris. I think Tobias Harris absolutely stays. Just in my opinion, I mean I'm almost positive he's the leading scorer on this team, the Clippers. He's 26, so he's in his prime, and he has his own team. He's got to share it with Lou Williams, but Lou Williams comes off the bench. He's averaging a career high points, 21. He's averaging a career high rebounds, 8.7, almost 9 rebounds, and he's got 2 assists to go along with it. I mean, he's having a career year, absolutely. And for somebody that's always bounced around, he was on Milwaukee, he was on Orlando, he was in Detroit. I think he's kind of found a spot now where he can safely be the guy. And not a lot of guys get to do that, but he just gets to score the ball. But he's not a one-dimensional player. I think he's a great get, and I think for Los Angeles, and I would definitely make sure that I try to keep him.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, Tobias Harris, when you think about Tobias Harris, career-wise, you'll just be yeah, he'll probably leave. But I mean, same thing with Julius Randle. I mean, he's 26 now. I mean, that's not old, but I mean, that's just about
Julius Randle 26?
No, he's 24.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's not like Tobias Harris is old or anything, but he's not that young. Eventually he's going to have to find a home as well, or he's just going to be the same journeyman type player. His role will keep diminishing, and then he'll be a bummer out of the league by the time he's 32, 33.
Yeah, you really have to establish yourself with a crowd, with a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make them want you to stay.
And once that fan base wants you to stay, that's when other teams notice no, this dude's legit. And yeah, I think Tobias Harris, absolutely. I mean, he is their number one option this year. I mean, he's actually been their best player, even better than Lou Williams so far.
Oh, yeah, he leads the team in points and rebounds.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, unless some other team gives him a max contract and the Clippers no, we're trying to rebuild, have fun wherever you want to go. I really think that it makes sense for both sides for Tobias Harris to come back. I really do.
I kind of forgot Avery Bradley was their starter.
Yeah, he sucks this year.
I mean, how far from grace has he fallen, man? 7 points, under 2 rebounds, under 2 assists for a starter. I mean, He's played 13 games, started all 13. That's unfortunate, man. I'm just here looking at the roster here, but yeah, I think Tobias will stay. And I know it seems like I'm kind of opting for everybody to stay here. But I mean, these are a lot of guys that have been there for a while. Marcus All's been there forever. Goran Dragic, we said was going to leave. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over somebody. I just noticed that.
All right, we can just zoom next.
Yeah.
No one heard that.
Facts. We're human though. We're human.
Yeah, we are.
I said a lot of guys on this list will probably stay, but I think Tobias Harris definitely, if anything, he might be one of the most likely to stay.
The Knicks are getting murdered right now.
You're living in Los Angeles. You're on the Clippers, so nobody really expects too much of you, but you can just go out and put up 21 a night. Yeah, definitely got a good thing going on. So, anyway. Next is, just to add, he's got help. I mean, 5 people are scoring double figures, averaging. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is young.
Jerome
Montrez,
Brown. No, sorry, continue.
Montrezl Harrell is young, but he's also a great defensive player.
He's really broken out this year.
A steal and almost 2 blocks from him, along with 15 points. Really impressive. Danilo Gallinari is actually shown back up. He's averaging 18 and 6, so he has help, and it's not like he's doing it by himself. I'm not going to say the Clippers are my favorite team to watch or anything, but that's good for him. I've really always liked Tobias Harris. I don't know, even when he was on the Magic, I just always I've always really liked him. Anyway, now next guy we'll talk about is Harrison Barnes. What do you say? I'm sorry, did you say Tobias Harris stay or leave?
Stay.
Okay. Sorry, did I ask you?
Yeah, no, you did.
Okay. Go ahead.
Harrison Barnes is, I feel like he's on a similar team, similar situation with Tobias Harris. He's a very nice player. I mean, his averages this year aren't as good as a guy like Tobias Harris. I mean, he's got 17 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, a steal. I mean, Harrison Barnes is a fine player. I mean, he's got championship experience. I don't think he gets another big contract like he did last time he was on the market with Dallas. But I think that they bring him back probably 3 years, roughly $18 million a year.
So you think he's coming back?
Yeah, I think he does come back just because, I mean, he is a very talented player, and they're not going to be able to get the talent and the scoring from Harrison Barnes from another player out there. And, I mean, unless they're getting Tobias Harris, who's a similar player, but we already said he's probably going to stay. I just don't think that they're going to be able to replicate that. And Dallas is a team that does have legitimate aspirations in the forthcoming future with Doncic and Dennis Smith and everyone. And I mean, they just brought in DeAndre Jordan. I mean, if you have competent guys, you might as well keep him around. And if you don't sign him for that absurd of an amount of money, he could have a movable contract if they did need to get rid of him. So yeah, I think for now that he should stay, and that he does stay.
I mean, Harrison Barnes is a guy that he pretty much has it all. He already has a title. Right, he's got one with Golden State, and he's already got his money. He's making $25 a year now, and he's going to be a free agent. I mean, this dude can do whatever he wants. It's not like he's statistically the best guy, the best player by any means.
I think is he even opt-out clause?
No, I think he's a straight-up free agent.
Straight-up free agent?
He's just a free agent. I mean, he's not the best player in the West or anything, but he is a talented guy. He's averaging 17, 4 rebounds, just about 2 assists. He's definitely one of their guys. I would say, and he's got these 2 young guys that he can just take a step back a little bit. But he is 26. Maybe he's looking. I don't think he's so delusional to the point where he thinks he needs his own team. I can't say.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of had his own team the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, they were awful. But now Doncic and Dennis Smith are kind of they're ready to take the reins over from him. And also, who's the other? DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, DeAndre Jordan.
Not like he's taken over any reins offensively or anything, but it's still interesting, you know.
Yeah. I just think.
Sorry, I'm like on the Dallas Mavericks page, and there's this article that says, because you know the Mavericks beat us the other day. It says after 20 games, the Celtics are as mediocre as ever. What the hell is that on their fucking page? That's kind of shitty. They're 9-9. Their record's worse than ours.
You hate to see that. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at their shit. What? Wesley Matthews is averaging 16 points a game? What? That's like unbelievable. I thought Wesley Matthews was like...
No, I knew he was good for them. I was well aware. I even thought it was higher. I would honestly said 18.
Holy shit. Good for him, because like his contract was kind of a waste of money. I'm not going to lie. His contract was kind of a waste of money. Like last year, 12 points a game. Year before, 13. Year before, 12. Like he was just that kind of player, and I just thought he was only going to keep going down and give it another year. He's going to be averaging 5, and then he's going to be out of the league.
Oh, yeah.
He's having one of his best years of his career. Holy shit.
Yeah, no.
Good for you, Harrison Barnes. I apologize. I really do.
Wait, I thought you were talking about...
No, Wesley Matthews. Good for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, he's still averaging like 32. He's playing more than Harrison Barnes. Yeah, no, I knew he was very, very competent, just because I've seen him play against us.
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah, I would say Harrison Barnes, he's got a good situation here. I don't really see him going anywhere. If he did go somewhere else, I could see him, I don't know, maybe hopping in like on a Cleveland or something. Somebody that needs somebody, he's willing to get paid a little more and, you know, take a little bit more money.
Also, this is just a random statement, but I feel like every single year, no matter what happens, like JJ Barea averages like 10 or 11 points a game for literally no reason.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
He
smoked us. He smoked us the other day at like 20.
Yeah, Barea's he's just one of those players. He just is like, good for him. Good for him.
No. Not good for him. He always pisses me off. I also find it interesting that Dennis Smith is only averaging like 4 assists.
Yeah, he's only averaging like 14 points, like 4 assists.
It's not really what I was expecting yet.
Yeah, he's kind of like plateaued from what he did last year. And I mean, I know like Doncic is on board now, so I mean he's not asked to do like as much as he probably had expected had they not drafted Doncic, but like you're gonna need to see a little bit better from him.
Still, yeah. All right. So we got a couple guys left here to go through. Eric Bledsoe. Is he staying or is he going?
I believe he stays for the same reason Harrison Barnes stays, just because I don't know where they're going to get a quality starting point guard from. I mean, if they bring in Dragic, it's basically you're getting, I think, a slightly older player. I could be wrong. I feel like Dragic is a little bit older. I mean, probably a little bit wiser. But Bledsoe, I'd say, is better defensively, much more athletic, and kind of works. Like one of the reasons that makes the Milwaukee Bucks such a good team is that, like, basically top to bottom from their lineup, except when Brook Lopez is on the floor, like their team is freakishly athletic. And I just don't see where they're going to get a more competent player, especially if they're trying to compete in the East. Yeah. And especially like if they're going to bring Middleton back, they might as well bring Bledsoe back and not break up the team.
Yeah, I mean, Bledsoe was a late addition to the team, so, you know, he's kind of, I mean, he is in their top 3 scorers. I don't know.
Yeah, he does have less of an emotional tie than a guy like Middleton would.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sold on him staying. If I were him and I was a free agent, I would try to look to... It depends what he wants. I mean, he doesn't have any titles or anything. You know, I don't really know. He's kind of become irrelevant to me since he left Phoenix. And that whole Scary Terry thing kind of aggravated me that he did that. I mean, I always liked him, but he's not really... It doesn't seem to me like he's really fitting in Milwaukee.
Like, if they were able to come up with another player in his
Holy
place.
shit.
Like,
Hold
what?
on. Oh, sorry. Never mind. I saw average, and I thought it was points per game. And, like, literally all the way down to Thonmaker said, like, 11. I was like, there's no way that this entire team is averaging double-digit points. But it wasn't. It was 11 minutes.
Yeah, he's averaging like 5 points, which is unfortunate.
Thonmaker's low-key a bust, huh?
Yeah.
Would they take him 7th?
I don't know. He was definitely a lottery pick.
Yeah.
I'll always like Thonmaker.
Oh, me too, but 5 points? 3 rebounds? I don't know.
There's no reason why John Henson should be getting minutes over him. Anyway, like, unless unless they're like, you know what, we're gonna give the reins to Malcolm Brogdon. He's gonna be our starting point guard. I mean, he's always been kind of like a combo guard. If they're gonna give him the reins and say he's gonna be our starting point guard, and they're able to either ship Bledsoe out to get comparable talent or use the money that could have gone to Bledsoe to go for another player at a position that they might need a little bit more, I can maybe see that being a legitimate possibility. I think especially just because they did just trade for him last year, and he had that whole thing where he kind of did get bitched by Terry Rozier in the playoffs last year.
I mean, they do have Dante DiVincenzo. I mean, when is he ready to take over that role?
I don't know.
When is he ready to step up?
Like
don't get me wrong, he's not playing crazy.
He's had like an average rookie season, like nothing special yet. You don't necessarily know what you got there yet. And Dellavedova was just an absolute waste of money.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of somewhere where I could see Bledsoe other than Milwaukee. I don't really love him there. I don't know. Let me kind of look at the standings here. There's got to be a team that could use him more.
I'm really glad the Knicks fired Phil Jackson
like
when
a Detroit. Like a Detroit could really use somebody like. I mean, Detroit just needs a point guard that can score and play defense.
Like Reggie Jackson's like not Bledsoe's like a little bit better than Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bledsoe's like a souped up Reggie Jackson.
Yeah. I think just because I don't know where they're going to get, like, they're going to have to keep a similarly competent roster together, like, around Giannis, because, I mean, he's 24 years old, and he's already undoubtedly a top 10 player in the league. Like, he's averaging, I didn't know this. Do you know how many rebounds he's averaging?
11, 12, 13.
13 rebounds to go with 27 points and 6 assists. Like, Giannis has just absolutely been incredible. And you have to have a team around him. You just have to, like, if you get a superstar talent and he's only 24 years old, you just have to put a competent roster around him or you're wasting his prime. Like, we've seen it with so many players in so many different sports. You can't afford to waste his prime. And, like, you don't sign Bledsoe to a max deal, but you sign him to, like, a $17, $18 million deal where he's competent enough where it's not a terrible contract that if you need to move it, you can move it. I think that's the move that they ultimately go with.
What do you think?
I think he ends up staying.
Okay. And the last guy is Nikola Vucevic. I'm going to say that I really hope that he leaves. I don't know. I feel like he's been through enough there, and he's such a competent center. He really is. I don't really have his averages right now. I can pick him up here.
Holy shit!
Yeah, exactly. What? Hold on, where are we? Yeah, 20 and 11. I mean, he's a very competent center.
Goodness, he's having a career year this year, which I did not realize.
I mean, he's only 28. He could really be utilized in a contender. I mean,
like a team that needs a center, dude. Like just like Whiteside. I mean, they're going to end up having to blow that team. They'll be able to trade Whiteside and get something back for him.
Yeah, like all the bad teams have the good centers. You know what I mean,
dude? Like Vuce is a tank.
Literally,
dude.
Look at this. The 4, 5, the 6 worst teams in the West have DeAndre Ayton, Rudy Gobert, Clint Capella, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, and DeAndre Jordan.
Holy shit.
The 6 worst teams in the West. And in the East, I mean, Chicago has Lauri Markkanen. You guys have Kristaps in quotes. But Miami has Hassan. They're like the 5th worst team. But you know what I mean? Like,
and like even like
teams,
we have Cantor.
Oh, yeah,
like,
exactly.
Even like he's not.
Cantor's great.
Yeah, he's fine.
But it just seems like there's contenders that need those guys.
Yeah.
We need those guys. I mean, literally, those bottom teams have.
You know who's having like a career year this year, low key?
Who's that?
JaVale.
Really?
Yeah, he's averaging like. Last I looked, he was averaging like 13 points, like 6 or 7 rebounds or something like that, and I think it was over 2 blocks. Like he's having his best year as a pro, and honestly, good for him. I've always liked JaVale.
I've not always been a fan.
I think he definitely got a bad rep from the whole Shaq in a fool thing, and that kind of.
Well, he was literally such a clown, and then he got all pissed off that JaVale started picking on him.
But like, imagine you were JaVale.
Huh?
Like, imagine you that was his reputation around the league, was that he was a clown. He was like almost out of the NBA because of that.
He was a bum ass. That's what you get.
No, but the thing is, like, he wasn't that terrible of a player.
He still does dumb shit all the time. He goes to get a dunk and he botches it off the back rim.
He does do dumb shit.
Tumbles down. He's so uncoordinated. He's a gangly little bastard.
He does dumb shit, but I mean, he's been competent. He's been a competent player.
I've seen him. No, I'm not gonna jump on this. Oh, JaVale's good. Like he's a legitimate top blah 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 center. He's
Shaq
not.
has poisoned your mind.
No, it's not. I've always seen like
because Shaq shows it to
time and time again. No, I've watched games. I've actually like. If we play Golden State or whatever, or if I just happen to be, I mean, I'm always happen to be watching a Lakers game. I watched one last night. He totally botched the dunk off the back rim and then fell. Just tumbled down. Like a jackass. He really pisses me off. Anyway.
2.9 blocks a game.
No, good. I mean, the numbers are good. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying he's a fool ass.
I would say he's definitely a fool ass, but he does have talent.
All right, we're done with that now.
I was just thinking of teams that are in the playoffs that need a center, and I was like, the Lakers. And I was like, no, you know what? JaVale actually hasn't been terrible this year. I did look that shit up the other day.
He's a good stopgap.
He has a good stopgap.
All right, so just quickly, I want to go through some. I mean, we're entering the second hour here. I'd like to, in a couple minutes we'll be in the second hour. I'd like to just go over some topics that I had written down that we were thinking about talking about, that we had talked about writing down. We talked about Markelle Fultz on Tuesday, and there's been a lot of speculation about him. Is he a bust or no, or is it too early to tell?
I think at this point it's not too early to tell anymore, because I think he's gone. I think that he legitimately is going to get traded. And I understand if not every single player is a superstar once they come out of college or once they come from overseas or whatever. I understand it takes time, but when you're a number 1 overall pick, you're going to have expectations. He lost a lot of last year with that shoulder injury. This year, didn't he have another shoulder thing, and then he had some other... I think he's gotten his fair share of DNP, his DNP coach's decisions. I mean, his jump shot is disgusting, dude. In college, that wasn't a problem. They're just he's like a combo guard, he's a good scorer, good overall player. He can kind of do a little bit of everything, dude. He sucks. He absolutely has shit the bed in his first 2 games in his first 2 seasons in the NBA, and I mean I think he has a shoulder and wrist injury right now. I think the thing with him, a lot of it at this point is a mental thing, and when it gets to be a mental thing, especially with a young player, I mean, it's not impossible to come back from, but you're gonna suck for a little while, and I think it is, especially with his jump shot, it is a mental thing. I mean, if you follow basketball and you follow it on Twitter, Instagram, you follow Bleacher Report and different accounts like that, I mean, I'm sure you've seen videos of Markelle Fultz shooting free throws. I'm sure that you've seen just his overall lackluster play, because that's just exactly what it's been. And if you're the number 1 overall pick, they traded a shit ton to trade up just 2 spots from 3 to 1. They traded with Boston. So I mean, instead of taking Lonzo Ball or Jason Tatum or whoever the fuck else they might have taken, they took this guy, Markelle Fultz, who they're just about ready to ship out of town and forget about. So I'm gonna have to use the B word.
And that's what we were talking about the other day. Also, I don't remember if we were talking about it on the show or just just talking because that's what we do a lot. But they knew that they were going to be able to get whoever they wanted. They knew that the Lakers were going to take Lonzo at second. There was no way it was going to be otherwise, right? So since the Celtics had put on that entire smoke screen of, we might draft Markelle. Like Markelle's going to be our guy. He's buddies with what's his face, Isaiah Thomas, and all this. Since they put up that entire smoke screen, they got so nervous that they traded up to get him.
Mm-hmm.
They literally, when the Celtics got the guy that they wanted all along. Danny said that. Danny said we got our guy that we wanted from the beginning with our third pick. We knew we could get him with the third pick. And you were the first overall pick, and there's a lot of territory that comes with that. Not every first-round pick doesn't live up to expectations. Kyrie Irving played 2 games in college, and he was the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And I would say he absolutely is a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
He is.
Absolutely.
I mean, hits big shots, Game 7, wins championships.
Yeah, he won a title with the team that he got drafted by and was a top 2 player on that team.
Oh, yeah.
And he hit the game winner that let them win the title.
Sealed it. He really did seal it.
That's not a bust. That's legitimate number 1 pick.
And Markelle's out of the rotation. And this whole shoulder thing, it's weird. Weird things happen, and we don't know all the information, and we never probably will, just because it's not something they want to broadcast. But yeah, absolute bust. It's just kind of embarrassing.
Just when it gets we don't say this in a bad way, but it's just it people talk about it all the time. Sometimes with pitchers, it'll be a mental thing,
mm-hmm.
and I've seen it with Dellin Betances. I've seen it with Chapman, where they just can't throw strikes. They just physically can't do it. They start losing velocity on their fastball in order.
That's how Kimbrel is, it feels.
No, literally, I would Kimbrel too. I mean, I've seen it from Matt Harvey. I've seen it from Sonny Gray with the Yankees this past year. Sometimes it just gets to be a mental thing where they just can't do it. I mean, some pitchers will snap out of it quicker because they realize that there is just one mechanic that they have to fix, and some guys just can't pitch in a certain city. Some guys just can't pitch in the playoffs. I don't know if it's Markelle Fultz can't play in Philadelphia is a rather big market. If he just can't live up to those expectations, whether
it's really coming out of that though. I mean, you obviously know Price was the worst postseason pitcher of all time.
Yeah,
easily.
He was brutal.
And he comes back and throws 7 innings, 7 hitless innings. I mean,
yeah, I mean the Astros and the Dodgers, they both couldn't figure out David Price.
Yeah. Once he finally decides to show up, you don't have a game plan. You know what I mean? And man, he was just throwing such heat. It was incredible. It really was.
And I think at this point it's a mental thing because his jump shot it's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
His jump shot's fucked, man. And I mean, you'll have those days in the gym where you kind of just forget how to shoot. You can't hit anything. You start rushing it. You change your release, and you just kind of gotta leave and just come back. Just forget about it. But Markelle Fultz at this point, it's just he's trying new things. The thing with Lonzo, he doesn't have a pretty jump shot. He doesn't have a great jump shot. But it's not a mental thing with him. He just sticks with it. I mean, he's been working on it.
But he changed it. Lonzo did change it a little bit. He eliminated some of the extra mechanics.
No, exactly.
Which
is good. But Markelle Fultz, when he was in college, I think he had just a normal looking jump shot, and now he's doing the whole
the bobble back
the
and forth,
whole
hand to hand,
D'Angelo Vickers juggling act. He's doing did he shoot it from the Lonzo side at one point? He's just tried everything.
Dude, he's totally
and it's unfortunate. I mean, you hate to see it, especially if you're a Philly fan.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Anyway, what's next? What do we want to do next?
Do you want to talk about where he could go, how much trade value he has or anything?
Oh yeah, he's got absolutely no trade value. Nobody's gonna pick him up. Nobody wants this guy. Nobody needs this guy. I don't know. Nobody's going to take him. Nobody, he's going to have to go somewhere where somebody thinks that they can really make a use for him, kind of rehab him the right way. But I don't want to say he's done, but, he kind of reminds me of a Michael Carter Williams or something like that. Just,
yeah. And Michael Carter Williams at least had a good rookie year and a
great
decent second year.
Rookie of the year, I mean, great.
And then
for
after that,
class.
he sucked.
Yeah, it sucks. You know what I mean? So he's just going to kind of be irrelevant. But I think Marcus Williams is on the Rockets now.
Yeah, he's like in the NBA, but
doing well.
he's not.
I wouldn't say astounding or anything.
Yeah.
But
I think,
what do you think?
I think what's going to end up happening is someone's gonna take a chance on him. I mean, like, there was a report where like Markelle Fultz like named his preferred destinations, and I was like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you don't get to
shut
do
the
that.
fuck up. You do not have the audacity to get your preferred destinations.
No, absolutely not.
So, some team that doesn't, it's either going to be a young team that just wants to acquire as many assets as possible. I think one team that's a glaring possibility for me is the Suns. I could see like a Markelle Fultz, Josh Jackson swap, just because those two guys have sucked.
No, Josh Jackson's way better than Markelle Fultz.
Well, this year I thought he was like last I looked, Josh Jackson was fucking terrible, and like he's getting in fights with T.J. Warren on the court. He's averaging 7 points a game.
I mean, but he's still better than Markelle Fultz.
I mean, Fultz is averaging like 8.
Markelle Fultz doesn't play.
I mean, he's played 19 games.
I think
15.
if they got Josh Jackson from Markelle Fultz, it would be an absolute heist. And not like he's so much better of a player. I mean, he's only averaging 17 points.
That's because last year, I mean, Josh Jackson had a really good second half. This year, I mean, he's just been brutal. Absolutely brutal. I mean, I could see...
But we still know the potential that he has. I mean, I still say he has some...
Which is why it's like, yeah, Fultz still has potential.
No, he
but
doesn't.
No, like he has potential, which is why some team's going to pick him up. But I don't.
If you're in your own head.
No, exactly. If you're in your own head, it's very difficult to get out.
Your own
and
head,
like, you're just not going to play well.
Then that means everybody in the arena that's screaming at you, you know, trying to get you off your game. I mean, they're in your head too. The coach is in your head. I mean, you know, your family, your friends. You know, you have to look them in the eye at dinner time and say, yeah, sorry I lost you that game. You know.
Like some team, either an older team that doesn't think they're rebuilding, that knows deep down inside, yeah, we're going to have to start getting some young assets or we're going to be fucked. Or a young team that doesn't have a point guard that... Like, I don't think Markelle Fultz is getting traded to another contender. Like, I don't think the Warriors or the...
Nobody needs him that bad.
Rockets or...
He's going to take a long time
the Raptors
to actually
or the Bucks.
get in check.
Exactly. Like, it would be worth it for a team that just really, really...
Maybe the Spurs.
No, I was thinking maybe the Spurs because, I mean, like, Lonnie Walker's a 2-guard, right?
Yeah.
They have DeJounte, but
he's obviously out for the season. Why not give him a year to kind of, I mean, are the Spurs still competing?
Yeah, no, I think the Spurs
they
are
have tomorrow, yeah.
8, 9. Yeah, they're like tied for the 8. Like, I feel like a team acquiring Markelle Fultz, I mean, like, some teams that just suck just need to acquire players.
It just kind of bothers me that, like, they won't, like, give up. You know what I mean? Like a Spurs or like a Heat. They won't just kind of, like, relax and say, okay, we're going to be bad for 1 or 2 years, get a good draft pick, and then shoot up. You know what I mean? It kind of bothers me that, like, I mean, because it's discouraged. Tanking is discouraged, like, from the league, you know? Which I think is ridiculous.
Like, I think whichever team ends up getting Fultz, like, do you remember when the Knicks got Emmanuel Mudiay and they just traded away Doug McDermott? It was kind of just like two, like, young players haven't really accomplished too much, like role players or whatever, just swapping those. I feel like it'll be something like that where a team is just trying to acquire as much talent as they can, like see which guys can play, which guys can't, and let those guys go. Just acquire as many guys that might have some potential as possible. And I think a team like that, I mean, Brooklyn has enough point guards, but just someone like that. I mean, Cleveland has a point guard. The Hawks have a point guard. The Bulls kind of have a point guard. Orlando doesn't really have a point guard. I think like a team like that might be one that goes out and gets Fultz because they know if they are able to make it work, I mean, he could be a piece for the future. And then if it doesn't work, like whatever, his value is never going to be lower. Yeah. Our prices have never been lower. Like, so it could be worth not giving up a lot for a guy who at one point had a high ceiling.
I mean, his team didn't even make the tournament, so how high was his ceiling?
Yeah, I mean, we could pull up the receipts. I thought Lonzo Ball was... I mean, like, the debate was always Lonzo or Fultz, and I was always team Lonzo. I mean, I don't think Lonzo's the best player from that draft class. I think it's
I
obviously
wasn't
at this
team
point.
Fultz, but I was not team Lonzo.
Yeah. I mean, like, just between those two guys, I mean, I know I always thought Lonzo was a much better player, and Fultz is just putting up good stats on a shit team, and that's
A looter and a riot.
yeah, it's exactly what it was. I don't know anyone else who was on that Washington team, and like that UCLA team was pretty nice.
Yeah, TJ Leaf, he was good back then.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay, so that's that. What do you want to go over next?
we could talk about Corver just real quick.
Okay, yeah, Corver just traded to the Jazz from Cleveland. I think that's officially Cleveland saying our prices have never been lower. Come on in. Going out of business sale. I'm glad because teams that just have like one or two good players are just wasting a year of a good player to me. It's really selfish. It's like, are you really gonna go to the playoffs with Kevin Love, Colin Sexton, who has not been fantastic, Kyle Korver and J.R. Smith. I mean, you kept Larry Nance, cool, but so what's going on? Like, what's the deal? I mean, Sexton has 14 points with 2 rebounds. 2 assists and 3 rebounds, but truly looter and a riot. I mean, somebody's got to score. Somebody's got to score the points.
I'm gonna be honest. This is a pretty good deal for Cleveland. Like Corver, I'll be honest. I thought he was making a little bit more money than he is. He is only making $5.2 million. I mean, but they got another player back, Alec Burks, who, I mean, he's basically just like essentially at this point he's like another J.R. Smith type player. He never really panned out to become a very good player. He was just like an average. Like I always just thought he was the most like average, mediocre.
Who are you talking about?
Alec Burks.
Okay.
So the trade was Corver for Alec Burks and 2 future second-round picks. But I think that's pretty good. I mean, at this point, like Cleveland's not going anywhere, and they know that Kyle Korver is just they're wasting like the twilight of his career.
All right, this is really irrelevant right now. But do you know it's not Vucevic? It's Vucevic.
Is it? I always used to call him Vucevic, and then like I heard people call him Vucevic, and I was like, it must be Vucevic.
It's probably Cam and I.
Props.
Yeah, our buddy Cam Black.
I thought I heard announcers calling that, or someone on
Cam.
something.
Our buddy Cam Black pronounces the NBA players' names in the weirdest ways. Do you have some examples?
Oh
man, there was.
I'm
one.
really trying to think. There was the guy on Sasha Vujicic, but he said. Oh, I can't remember how he pronounced it, but I was like, nah, it's Vujicic. And he's like, no, it's Vujicic. Yeah,
I think it was something
like
like that, Vuvicic or something.
I used to, when I was younger, I thought his name was Sasha Vuvu Jack.
No,
I don't know. He would like pronounce stuff like slightly off, and it would be like.
It was hilarious, bro.
It was so funny.
All right, what were you saying?
Like, this is not a terrible deal for Cleveland. I mean, they're at least getting shit back. They're getting 2 second-round picks. I mean, if they draft well, that could become like a future rotation player or something. Whatever, they're just getting stuff. And like Alex Burks, he's a player in the NBA. I mean, he was at one point a lottery pick. He never panned out to that. But I mean, they're still getting another player who's probably like at this point of similar. Whatever. I mean, like Kyle Korver is not nearly the player he used to be. At this point, he's just a shooting specialist. And if you're on a shitty team, you have no use for a shooting specialist. Like, trade him to a contender because they'll need him. So that's why Utah got him. But Alec Burks will literally just be a guy who comes in off the bench. Like, if no one's doing anything, you'll give him the ball. Like, he might score in bunches or he might put up 12 bricks in a row. Like, not a terrible trade, really, for either side because they didn't give up too much to get a guy who could potentially help the rotation. But they also did just get better than, like, cash considerations or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, really, let's kind of look at it from the Bucks. The Jazz point of view. I mean, yeah, it's good. I'm glad Cleveland got rid of him, but he went to the Jazz. I mean, that was a great get for them alongside Joe Ingles. Like, they're really embracing the 3 ball.
Like, the Jazz needed to do something. I mean, they've been pretty lackluster out of the gate. I think they're 9-12.
I think they're like
they're
second
9
worst
and
team in
12.
the West.
Yeah, they're second worst, but I mean, the West is pretty tight knit right now. I mean, they are only a game and a half out of the playoffs, so I think later on in the season, when it comes around down to the trade deadline, they'll probably be at like the 5 or the 6, and we're probably not going to be too worried. But they had to do something before it got too late.
I forgot Kevin Love got hurt, man. That's too bad.
I know. The thing is, like, they need Kevin Love playing and averaging like 20 and 12 just so they can be like
averaging 19 and 13.
No, exactly. Like he was doing very well like in his limited games while he was playing. But
he's somebody I want to see. I want to see somewhere else.
Exactly, dude. Like he could still be like a number. I want to see him as like a number 2 option. I'm not saying on like a championship caliber team, but like throw him on the Pacers, dude. Something like that. Team. He did, and he was good.
Yeah.
Like he has, if he wanted to right now, he could have his own team. Well, not like if he wanted to, but you know what I mean. Like if he's healthy and he doesn't request a trade, he can have his own team. And like if that's all he cares about is stats.
Go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is.
That's what's great about him.
I really want to see him on. I really want to see him get a chance to play on like another playoff team and play meaningful minutes. Because like I mean I've always liked Kevin Love. I mean it just wasn't. He was taken too far out of his role because he had to play alongside LeBron, and I mean even Kyrie for that matter, because Kevin Love couldn't. For a couple of years, Kevin Love couldn't be the number 2 option. He was the number 3, and it was kind of weird for him to transition from like the guy like at one point he was probably a top 10 player in the NBA to just what he is now. I mean he's still good and all. Like don't get me wrong, but yeah, I want to see him. I'll always come back to it. If I can see a team like Portland somehow get that, or just Indiana, like not like a title contender that it's gonna have to shake everything up, but a team in the playoffs that could just make them a little better and a little bit more fun to watch, I'd be definitely down for that.
Okay, so he has just been traded. I think next it's got to be somebody else. Cleveland's used to losing. Just let them lose again. It's fine. J.R. Smith is absolutely next. Hopefully, seriously. He deserves better than that. Where could you see J.R. Smith going, just real quick?
The problem with J.R. Smith is...
No, where could you see him going?
I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to evaluate this right now because the problem with J.R. Smith is the fact that he's making $12 million and he's not a $12 million player. So whichever team is going to try to trade for him is either going to have to give back another shitty contract and they're just going to be swapping shitty contracts, or I just don't. Or it's going to just be another shitty team and they'll attach a pick to it just so they don't have to deal with that money. Like, here's my thing. Like, I've always loved J.R. Smith. I mean, he's a clown, but he's such a fun player to watch. He's just he's a funny dude. Like, he's just having fun out there. Oh my goodness, I can't. You know what? I'm gonna say. I almost want to see him on the Kings. I want to see him and Shumpert on the same team again because they were always boys. Shumpert's having like his best year in a while. I mean, he's just like a role player for them, but whatever. Like, I want to see him somewhere fun where he can still get rotation minutes and still huck up shots and maybe, if we're lucky enough, be on a playoff team that we can see in April. I don't even know, man. I'm just trying to think of like which teams have bad contracts that they'd be able to do a swap and get a guy who could potentially help, especially offensively. Memphis. J.R. Smith for Chandler Parsons and like picks or something. Or maybe just straight up. I don't even know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't got very much. Just for a guy who's like just for a guy who's had a controversial NBA career, to say the least. I mean, he's had some off the court issues, like
day drinking with Rihanna.
Exactly, like day drinking with Rihanna,
Before
or
a playoff game.
He posted a picture of a girl in a thong on his Twitter or something like that, and that violated some kind of league rule, and he got fined for it. Another team that I heard could look into getting him is Houston, which I would love to see that.
I would.
But I mean, if Carmelo didn't work out, I don't know how Houston would, and I also don't know how they would make that money work necessarily. However, if
he would have to restructure his deal.
Yeah. Like, I could see him getting traded to a team and they just buy him out. And then he goes and signs with whoever. I think that's probably the most logical at this point. I don't think Cleveland's going to buy him out just because I think the relationship between J.R. Smith and the front office is absolutely fractured.
Well, they really just signed him because LeBron asked.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
They really did. The relationship with the front office is so fractured that I don't think he's going to accept a buyout from Cleveland. He's going to have to get traded for something. I don't think he cares about Cleveland getting something back for him. I really don't. But I don't think he's going to want to sacrifice a couple $1 million just to become a free agent, just for Cleveland to get rid of that contract. I don't think he wants to help them out in that way. So I think that they're going to have to trade him to some team. It could be like Brooklyn again, like how they just bought out Dwight Howard. It could be Atlanta, how they bought out Carmelo. I could see it as something like that, where he just gets traded to another shitty team, gets bought out, gets to sign wherever he wants to for the minimum, and if it works out, it works out, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't.
All right, we got like a half hour left here in the show, and last couple weeks. We've been doing the top 100 NBA players from Bleacher Report. We're at 30 right now. I'd like to just do a couple more off that list just to kind of get through them and, go over higher or lower, with that thing. And I think we've put those episodes up on SoundCloud or something like that. Maybe we can get them up. Make sure they're all on YouTube, all in one place, something like that. Okay. But anyway, I think we're on 29, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me just pull up the list.
I'd like to maybe do like 5.
Yeah.
So we're at 29. Number 30 was Drew Holiday, right?
I think number 30 is Drew Holiday.
So you're saying we haven't done that yet?
Yeah, the last one we talked about was Aldridge.
Oh, okay.
I remember it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we were like, yeah, all right, so we're going to wrap this one up with LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, he's a fine player.
Yeah. Okay. Drew Holiday, number 30, shooting guards, New Orleans Pelicans. Is he the 30th best player in the NBA? High, low?
I almost have to refresh my memory with the guys behind him. Like, who do we got on here? We got LaMarcus Aldridge, whatever. We got Blake Griffin. Like, I don't think he's better. Like, Andre Drummond. I wouldn't have him above guys like these. Bradley Beal. I would move him down a little bit. However, his value that he provides defensively is off the charts. Was he on All-NBA first-team defense last year?
I don't know.
Because he absolutely deserved it. I mean, like, it's not like he was ever a bad defensive player.
Yeah,
but
he was all defense last year.
He really did.
Jay Holla and the J Truth is his nickname. Sorry, go ahead.
Like, he was an all-star when he was on Philadelphia that one year. They traded him away, and he was kind of just like a solid player. And, I mean, he's 28 now. I really think he reinvented himself by committing to the defensive end. And, I mean, with that, I mean, his numbers have gone up offensively over the last couple of years. He's averaging just about 20 points a game. He's averaging 9 assists. He's averaging almost 5 rebounds. I mean, dude is as underrated as it gets. I'd say he's a very similar player to like Mike Conley.
I would, yeah.
I mean, like, he's
high or low. Let's get it. Yeah.
I think there's some guys behind him who I think are better. However, I know that there's going to be guys in front of him that I would slide down. So I would say around 30 is pretty good for Jrue Holiday.
Yeah, I would say 30 is also pretty good. I mean, he's averaging basically the same points as last year, same assists, same rebounds. The only thing is three more
assists, dude.
which is huge. I mean, it just proves that the Pelicans did a better job of getting more players that can actually score the ball. Jrue Holiday and Nikola Mirotic are used a lot this year. I'd say he's the 30th best player in the NBA. I'm comfortable with that. I mean, he played 81 games last year. He's dependable. He's clutch. Yeah, absolutely. I'd say 30 is a pretty good number. So now we slide down to 29. And we have John Wall. And do you want to take this, or you want to go first? Okay, I'll go first. I think
Just trying to put what I want to say into words.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about it. I think 29 is okay for John Wall, and I don't think John Wall is a great player. He is a really good player, but I don't think he's a fantastic player by any means. He's proven not to be clutch. He can't really shoot. But at the end of the day, he is still a 5-time All-Star. I mean, he's averaging 21 points, 8 assists, just under 4 rebounds. I mean, to me, that's a 29th best player. It's tough for me because I see him play day in and day out. He had that injury last year, which really sucked for him.
Do you know what his nickname is?
Yeah. Optimus Dime. That's awesome.
I kind of gained a little more respect for him.
Yeah. That's funny. I think he's always had a bad attitude, me personally. But I think 29 is okay for him. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to say 29 is probably good. Again, there's probably some players behind him that I might put ahead of him, especially I think he's kind of gone down the last 2 years, to be completely honest. But, I mean, he's still a good player. I mean, he's still like one of the more athletic players in the league. Like, he's still a really good passer. I mean, he's able to score the ball just because of his athletic ability and his speed. And, again, he's just not a fantastic shooter. He's shooting under 70% from the free throw line this year, which, like, if you're supposed to be, I mean, I guess Bradley Beal is at this point the closer, but like you're supposed to be the guy on that team, and if you can't be counted on.
John Wall is not clutch. I've said that 100 times.
Like, I think I've literally seen him hit like one game winner in his career. One.
And I think it was that one against Boston.
Yeah, it was.
Where he stood on the scorer's table.
Like, the thing is, like, that scorer's table thing was so lit, except for the fact that, A, they lost Game 7,
yep.
And B, I don't think he's hit a clutch shot since then.
That was his first clutch shot and his only clutch shot.
Like, that could have been a great moment if he put his money where his mouth is, but he just didn't.
That's what it comes down to, man. He's shooting 67% from the free throw line.
Here's my thing. Like, I'm not going to say
32% from 3.
Like, that's embarrassing. I think the thing is with 3-point percentage, like, percentage isn't everything, because like a guy will have more range and a guy will take more contested threes just because of their role, and their like percentage won't be as high. But like, say Kyle Korver, when you're shooting like 38% and like, I don't know, like Lance Stevenson wouldn't shoot 40, I don't think. Like, Marshawn Brooks like happened to be shooting 40. Like, I would still say Kyle Korver's a better shooter. But I think with this, like, the 32% for John Wall is representative of his shooting ability. Because he doesn't take that many, because he knows he's not that good of a shooter, but he still doesn't hit the ones he's taking.
I mean, last year in 41 games, he was averaging 31% from 3. 37. So you obviously dipped down.
Mm-hmm.
You're still attempting 5 a game. That's what you have to look at, is the attempts. He's still shooting 5 threes a game.
He's shooting more than he did last year and making less.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, the thing is, I'm not a big John Wall fan, so I'm not going to put other guys in front of him just because I'm not the biggest John Wall fan. However, what I would like to say, like, the gap between a player like John Wall and Jrue Holiday is a lot smaller than I had expected. It really is.
Yeah.
Like, I would still take John Wall just as a player. As an individual player, I think he's probably better than Jrue Holiday, but the gap between those two guys is way smaller than I could have imagined. It really is.
Totally agree. All right, let's slide down to wait. Hold on. And also, there's a lot in the locker room that's being problematic. I mean, John Wall's telling Scott Brooks to F off. Things like that. People kind of thought that that Gortat was the problem. For some reason, Gortat even said, "So see, now I'm not the cancer." I mean, in that locker room. So, it's just bizarre that there's a lot of issues there. And I haven't heard of any issues with the Pelicans or Drew Holiday or anything like that.
No, in fact, I've heard like Drew Holiday is one of the best like locker room guys in the league.
Yeah.
And like one of the best leaders in the league.
I mean, he missed a bunch of time when his wife was really sick with his child. I mean, remember that? But it was just kind of like his teammates just totally understood, let him go, But I don't know. Okay. Next guy, we have 28 Donovan Mitchell. High or low?
I'm going to be honest, I would move him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am absolutely infatuated with his game. I mean, he's had some kind of like lingering injury this year where he's missed a couple of games. He's like missed a couple of games. He's like come back, like played very limited minutes. I can't find what the hell it is because like when you search up a guy, I usually love articles saying what it is, and then you go to Basketball Reference, like they have every injury there. Like it doesn't say anything. I mean, the Jazz haven't been great this year, but Donovan Mitchell's he's still been Donovan Mitchell. I think he's only going to continue to get better. I mean, his maturity. I mean, I'd say he's already shown he's very mature. I mean, he took on a leadership role basically last year as a rookie. I mean, he really, really came out of nowhere to be just an absolute fantastic player. And again, haven't seen who's in front of him, but just because of what he's able to provide on both ends of the floor and just one of the most freakishly athletic players in the league right now at only age 22, I think I'd move him up a little bit even.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with him here just because I know at this point on we're going to be getting into the best NBA players in the league. I mean, there's got to be. I could probably name 30 NBA superstars, and I think we're approaching the superstar territory.
And like, just my thing right now. We haven't heard Ben Simmons' name yet,
which is kind of frightening.
That's just my only comment, which is why I know there's at least one guy that I would have above him, and there's just some names that I'm sure have slipped our mind.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think if from here on out we only see very. You're smiling. Did you peek? Oh boy. I feel like I'm not gonna like this. Well, we don't peek, Alex. That's the whole point.
I did it accidentally.
All right, well, get your chubby fingers off the trackpad. Yeah. Give her a lot of sauce that's coming from underneath your fingernails. Gross. Now I gotta see. All right, Donovan Mitchell. I'm okay with him here, but I know there's gonna be people that I think should be beneath him. Moving up. Okay. We get Klay Thompson, number 27.
Yeah.
First of all, that's such a weird picture of him.
Yeah. The thing is, I saw Klay Thompson, I gave a little grin, and then when I hit the space bar, I'd scroll down, and I was like, what the
Alex,
fuck
what did we just go over? Yeah. I'm going to say Klay Thompson should be higher. I think we can both agree he's not the 27th best player in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm just
because again, we haven't seen Ben Simmons.
No, we haven't.
We have not. I don't think we've seen Bradley Beal.
No, we did. He was in the 30s.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Okay. Which John Wall is not that much better than Bradley Beal.
No, he's not.
Think about it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take this one real quick. Like when I came on here and said that I would take Jimmy Butler over Klay Thompson, like I mean that. But here's the thing: I didn't mean it this bad. Like Klay Thompson's not the 27th best player. Like stop.
That's disgusting.
Like stop. I mean, I would really have to look at a list, but I mean, he's still most likely top 20 at least.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Ben Simmons. You know who else we haven't seen on this list?
Who?
His teammate Draymond Green.
Oh my God. I really hope I don't see
Draymond Green might be the most overrated player in the NBA. I
think
think
we'll see where he falls.
Yeah, we'll see where he falls. But just the fact I'm sorry, like, you can't be a superstar and average single digits. And, like, in the past, like, he's averaged, I think, as high as, like, 13 or 14 points a game in that one, in, like, the year where they had the 73 wins. Like, he's always averaged, like, 10, 11, 12 points, like, whatever. Like, good for you. I'm not really going to judge you that much. Like, if you're a good player, you're a good player. But this year he's averaging 6.9 points per game, and that just isn't... I mean, I understand they didn't know he was going to be this bad. They didn't know he was going to be that bad offensively, but I just still... Like, I understand he's won Defensive Player of the Year. I understand, like, he would have had the quadruple-double had he scored 10 points in that game. Like, he provides a lot, but, like, Klay Thompson is just a better player. He is.
Well, we don't know where he is yet. He might not even be on the list. Who knows?
You know what? You're right. You make a fair point.
No, I mean, Klay Thompson's averaging 23 points a game, 3 made threes a game. I didn't realize he was only shooting 77% from the free throw line, though. Don't love that.
Klay?
Yeah.
No, I do not love that. What the fuck?
Big Smokey, Killer Klay, the electrician. Definitely too low. I don't know where I would have him yet, but I got to move up a little bit and see. Let's move up one. DeMar DeRozan. Definitely move him up.
Yeah, what the hell?
Let me take a peek real quick. Yeah, I would move him up.
Oh my gosh! Wait, no, like, I think DeRozan's another player who I like. Don't worry, we have a lot of players that we have to throw in the top 20, but like DeRozan, I feel like is like a consensus top 20 player. I mean, even though he's on the Spurs and they're boring and everything.
I mean, 24 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists.
I don't know how he's only 26th.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Especially at age 29.
Like DeRozan, I think every single year, like DeRozan has gotten better.
Yep.
I'm not completely sure what his numbers looking like this year. I mean, they're still. I think he's
24,
like,
6 and 6.
Yeah.
With a steal.
I mean, like his best year was 2016-17. He averaged 27 points a game. But dude, he's been
season's far from over though.
Yeah, no, exactly, dude. He's just been consistently fantastic for a couple of years. I think he's one of the most underrated players. I mean, I understand the fact he's not a good 3-point shooter and he's a shooting guard, and that whole thing is weird. He's like an old. He's like a 90s style NBA, like a 90s and before style NBA player.
Yeah, I mean he is shooting 1-8 from the 3-point percentage. That's his 3-point percentage.
18% is terrible.
So that is absolutely abysmal, bro.
At the same time, he is only attempting 1.6 threes a game. Like, thank goodness.
I mean, last year he was taking like 3.5 a game, and he was making
and he shot 31%. Again, that's not good. That's not good. We're not going to sugarcoat that. We don't do that on the show. But like, it wasn't terrible.
No,
you had to at least guard him. But the thing is, like, he knows his role. He knows I'm not going to come out here and huck 10 threes a game. So, like, good on you. But, I mean, let's not, like, pretending like he's a defensive liability either. Like, like, when all is said and done, he's probably going to average, like, 20 points a game for his career.
Yep.
Like, the 6 assists, 6 rebounds for a shooting guard, that's pretty freaking good. Like, pretty freaking good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
too low.
Definitely.
Let's move up one.
Yeah.
We got Kevin Love at 25, and this is probably our last one of this. But
I mean, we could probably go up to 21 if we wanted to. Like, okay. It's only 8:41.
Yeah, whatever you think. We got. Let me take one peek. I feel like now I just have to keep peeking.
Yeah.
Okay. See. With one scry one, if you will.
That was a scry one.
That was a scry one.
Oh boy.
I'm okay with him here. I would even maybe put him down beneath DeRozan 1. But I'm okay. I mean, 20 and 12, 20 and 13. Those are good numbers, man. You can shoot the 3, because Hassan is averaging 20 and 13 or 20 and 12, and he cannot shoot from beyond 10 feet. So Kevin Love is such a fantastic rebounder that he absolutely belongs, I guess, in the top 25. But he in my mind, he's a top 20 player. But again, there can only be 20 players in the top 20. But he is absolutely on the upper echelon of this league.
Like, I'm just gonna be honest. I might move him down just a little bit. And my reason why is he's not better than DeMar DeRozan. He's not better than Klay Thompson.
At his position, though, I don't think there's too many better than him.
Oh, at his position, I would say.
I mean, 20 and 13 is legitimate.
Yeah, I mean that was in very limited minutes, and I mean he's kind of a weird player because he's going back to a number 1 role on a garbage team after being like a number 3 and a number 2 last year. I mean he's kind of very, very weird to judge, but I
don't think that's true.
I would take.
I mean, last year he was averaging
like 17.
Yeah, with 9 rebounds. I mean, and 2 assists.
That's not for number 2 option. That's just not great. It's not, and like he doesn't provide very much.
17 and
defensively
9? Are you telling me
either.
that's not great.
But that's not like top 25. But the thing is, like I understand, like him and LeBron didn't really work well together. He wasn't playing the type of game that he's usually used to. So I don't really want to hold that against him.
The dude is 30, averaging 20 and 12,
no,
13.
I'm aware. I would slide him down underneath DeRozan and Thompson. Like if I'm looking at his position, whatever you want to call Anthony Davis, definitely better than him. I mean, there's like him and Aldridge, I would say are like those two guys are similar. I'd probably take Kevin Love over Aldridge at this point. I mean, there's like Blake Griffin, there's like Kristaps when he's healthy, but I mean Blake Griffin. I mean not Blake Griffin. Like Kevin Love is still definitely an elite power forward. So I mean, I'd probably just slide him down 2 spots. I'm not going to put Mitchell ahead of him yet, just because we've only seen like a 1 1/4 season out of him.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. He's better than DeRozan's better than him, and Thompson's better than him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not egregious to put him at 25.
I don't know why Blake Griffin was so low.
Yeah,
I think
I don't either.
That's the real travesty. Again, I mean, this list was made before the season, and I think we can make our own top 100 and review that on this show, and that would be good. 24, Kemba Walker.
Are we gonna scry?
I'm gonna scry 1. Oh, that's disgusting. Okay, I wish I didn't.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's awful. That is terrible. We might as just reveal it now. There's no hype that needs to be
number
had.
23.
It's Draymond Green. It's Draymond Green. That's terrible.
Yeah. All right.
That is absolutely awful.
We'll talk about Kemba. Kemba's a better player than Draymond Green. Okay. Where were we?
I mean, Kemba Walker's way better than Draymond Green. Draymond Green is really taking. It's like he's trying to. I can respect what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
He is trying to fit in this big 5.
And like
because I will say it is still a big 5. I will not say Draymond is some schmuck that's just tagging on. He is part of it.
No,
five.
absolutely.
I mean, he is a do-it-all kind of guy. You don't get 7.5 rebounds and 7 assists and almost 2 steals and almost a block, being terrible. However, the 7 points isn't fantastic. But again, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry, 3 of the best scorers, 3 top 10 scorers of all time, 3 top 20 scorers of all time. I'm trying to think. Like, I'm talking like 3-point shooters,
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like Clay's probably not gonna Clay's not gonna end up like a top 20 scorer.
No, I'm not. I meant.
No, I know what
scorer.
you mean. I
meant 3-point scorer. So you have like absolute assassin offensive players. He's got to figure out his role. And right now, his role is 7 rebounds and 7 assists, man. That's fine. That is fine. I don't think that's better than somebody that can put up 20 points, a la Kemba Walker, Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan. I would still put him above Donovan Mitchell, but I put him beneath Klay Thompson. And I understand the point is a little discouraging, but they still win the games. Come January, when DeMarcus Cousins is playing, he will be the 5th option offensively. but he'll still probably average. He'll probably average more rebounds and more assists. Maybe
Yeah.
less rebounds, but more assists for sure. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like it's almost kind of funny because like his game, Draymond's game is like built around trying to be like the best teammate possible, like trying to get his teammates involved, like trying to play great defense, but like off the court or even at sometimes on the court, like he'll be fighting with Kevin Durant. I don't know. I think that's kind of funny, but I mean, if we're just talking about this list, we haven't gotten too much into Kemba Walker just because there's not too much needed to say, dude. I mean, he's one of the most solid point guards in the NBA. This list was made before this season when, I mean, he's having his best year of his career, 28 points a game, just filthy. And I understand, like, Draymond, like, Mr. Intangibles, like, he's got all this going for him, but there's just no way that he provides more to his team than a legitimate star point guard like Kemba Walker does. I don't agree with that.
And, I think it's just an awkward situation. Again, we have to remember this is an old list. So that's how it's going to be. These are not necessarily assumptions, but projections of this year.
Do you want to move on to 22?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll down. Gordon Hayward. Okay. Again, as I was just saying, this was a projection.
Yeah, this is a projection.
And I think it's become very apparent that he is not the 22nd best player in the NBA right now. Coming off that injury was really tough for him. Super mental.
Yeah, I think a lot of it definitely still is. Even though he's back out there on the court, I mean, he's playing, but I think a lot of it still has to be mental.
I can only imagine the pain that he felt and the frustration. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he just doesn't want to go through that again, man. You can see it out there. He's like kind of like tiptoeing, and I get that. I mean, after I would sprain my ankle back in the day, I would playing ball. I would come back on the court a little game or two. It'd be a little nervous out there. You know what I mean? I don't want to get hurt again. You know what I mean? And you're more susceptible to an injury once you've had one there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's aching. You feel it. I think he's gonna have. I think he can be the 22nd best player in the NBA. I think he can be. I don't. He definitely is not right now, but I think he has that potential to be. Hopefully, we see that later this season. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think like obviously, like if you're making this list, like you got to move him down. I think even at the beginning of the year, putting him at 22 was a little. It was very generous, but like it was hopeful. Like I really wanted to see Gordon Hayward come back and play really well. But like if we think back to the last time when Gordon Hayward was on the Jazz, I would say he absolutely was 22. Maybe even like I think I did make a list and I had Gordon Hayward as like a top 20 or just outside the top 20. So like he does have the potential. But like exactly like what you were saying, I mean, like the dude basically had like, I'm not saying like he had a year of his life taken away, but it was almost a year of his life where he couldn't play the sport he loved. I mean, it was difficult to walk for him for a long time, to do the activities that he's used to, just to like he probably had to spend a shit ton of time just propped up in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's always going to be in the back of his mind when he's playing sports. I mean, obviously he's getting paid millions and millions of dollars to play. So I mean, it's worth it for him. So he can make money doing the thing that he loves doing. But, I mean, that's probably always going to be in the back of his mind because that's just terrible. Like that's literally like one of the worst possible injuries, to literally have your foot come out of its socket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
No, absolutely.
I mean, like this, like no fault against him. It's just...
Right. And it does suck, and he really is going to have to persevere over that. But, I mean, his last All-Star season in Utah, he was putting up 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He was putting up 15 shots a game. Now in Boston, he's got like 8 less minutes and like 7 less shots per game. So it is adding it's not just adding an entire Gordon Hayward. It's adding like 50% of a Gordon Hayward and trying to bring him back in. You know what I mean? They've just taken him out of the starting rotation, which was good. We needed to take him out. The Celtics' biggest thing is just bombing the first quarter. So, just getting apathetic, getting down, and now we put Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is starting, and we leave Al at the 5, and that's been working out really well for us. I mean, we beat the Pelicans just like that. It gives a lot of energy right out the gate. But Gordon Hayward's going to come in with the bench unit, and Gordon Hayward coming off the bench is kind of nuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
he's gonna, he is definitely going to be able to. The thing is, our bench unit is still really high functioning. You know what I mean? Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart. Well, now that'll be Gordon Hayward, but he'll still get a lot of meaningful minutes there, and hopefully he'll come back. I mean, absolutely. Last one we'll hit 21, and that's Al Horford actually. I don't think Al is this high either. I don't. Again, this was a projection. I think everybody kind of thought the Celtics would be running the league right now, and it's taken us it's a little bit of growing pain to get here, to where we are. But I don't think he's this high, but I don't think he's insanely lower. I mean, 12 and 6 and 3.5 assists, still pretty consistent. Shooting 55% from the field, 34% from 3. Not terrible. I would say low. Lower than this for sure.
Yeah, I think he also has to move down. I think, like he is getting a little bit older. He's 32 now. Mm-hmm. I mean, like he's not remotely washed. And like this definitely was a projection as well. I mean, Boston was supposed to be the top seed in the East, but I mean, even like looking at that, he's kind of like he's like a similar player to Draymond Green, and just in the fact that very good defensively, like he provides a lot more in rebounds and assists, and like he's not the greatest scorer, he's a better scorer than Draymond Green is. But just because he's like an intangibles type player, provides a lot. But I still I've always liked Al Horford. I mean, I've been a fan of his since he was playing at Florida. But like if I look at other guys in this list, like Kemba, Kevin Love, like DeMar DeRozan, like Klay Thompson, like, these are like legitimate like star players that are definitely like closer, that are like in their prime or much closer to their prime than like a guy like Al Horford is. I mean, Horford's probably like a guy who's probably like 30, like. Let's not, like, I'm not trying to be like, yeah, let's move him down to like 50 or something like that. Like, this isn't the most egregious thing I've ever seen, just because he does provide a lot more than just his scoring output. But yeah, I think to have him at 21 above a lot of other star players is a little bit much on Bleacher's behalf.
No, I agree. And with that, let's end that there.
Yeah.
I think. What we can pick up with 20 through whatever.
Yeah, we can do like 20 through like 11.
Yeah.
And if we can get 2 episodes next week, which I mean, I think we have a much better handle on what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. Now that we know, like we're settled in with YouTube, we know like what we got to do. We can't be playing music for
copyright reasons.
Yeah, for all that good stuff.
But yeah, now that we get it set up, we should probably get 22 shows a week, no problem.
Yeah, so we should wrap up this list next week. We'll probably have much more to talk about.
So everybody, thanks for listening, and keep an eye out for more episodes coming up soon.
Yep. Good night.